Hello. Welcome back for session 11. 11 sessions. Look at us go. My mustache fell off. It'll probably grow back someday soon, I hope. Maybe not all at once. Anyway, I mentioned in the last episode that because we're moving on to session 11, I think it might be a good idea for us to do a bit of a recap for like 10 episodes total. In order for people who want to jump in at this point, they can skip like 10 hours worth of video and instead join in with an idea of basically what's happened up to this point, right? So I'm going to try my best to be brief about what's happened there. So let's talk about where it all began. So in the beginning, there was a session 0. I'm just kidding. I'm going to do that for every session. No, I'm just kidding. So when we began, we talked briefly about how the people who come to this land that we're exploring, of Adesia, they came from a place that was terrible with an autocratic leadership that had just taken over and made life miserable for everybody, right? So everybody who's coming here is looking for an opportunity to, stake their claim, make some money, change their lives, right? So we also designed our starting village, Valley Dar, which itself is a pretty small village, all things considered. There's all the usual amenities, the general store, the tavern, the Elvish Tower, as it's called, and a few quest hooks, some leadership, the usual. The party were formed in the session 1, and they made well of one of the first of the hooks that we had about goblin spies being in the village, right? At the tavern, they ran into a group of these sickly goblins who were cultists of the goblin god Bebit, a chaotic god of sickness, disease, and decay, and runny noses, and all that fun stuff. And we lost a character, but needless to say, it pushed us forward in the right direction for the rest of our adventuring, right? We now knew we had to find the rest of these goblins, put an end to their spooky, slimy deeds, and it sent us to the east, to the Keep of Kagramar. The party went there, slew our not-so-friendly goblin friends, which I guess would be enemies, but I'm not counting. We ran into ogres for the first time, certainly not the last time, and it set the precedent for the party in the town to be adventurers who were trying to do right by the people, and gave us some opportunities for work in the future, right? So now, after having established a name for themselves as adventurers, the party were on the lookout for their next quest. Now, the quest that they would run into would come in one of two ways: exploration and through asking around town. Now, unfortunately, they didn't really find a lot of jobs around town to do, and the one job that they managed to find was to locate a missing person. And after having found where the missing person was, they had earned the friendship of a local fisherman, Ferd. And now, with the friendship of Ferd, the party had somebody who could transport them by boat. Naturally, they didn't really have too many places to go to by boat, but after exploring to the west, we ran into some interesting places, such as a village haunted with a witch's curse, with some sort of buried treasure somewhere in the town. We also had a giant orc encampment that we ran into, which I'm sure that won't be relevant someday in the near future. And the party traveled to the north after hooking around and running into a lot of giants, a lot of giants and a lot of ogres. And the party had managed to find a certain artifact, a very spooky, enchanted club, one with a lot of power to it. But as of right now, it seems to be well enough under the control of the party. The party then traveled to the east in the last game, and we ran into Castle Nijo, which this castle itself has a lawful evil owner and an entire mercenary camp alongside it. The party in that episode were able to deftly walk their way around potentially developing an enemy out of a nearby castle. And instead, the party traveled onward, running into another village by the end of their travels. This village having something of a secret to it, but also close enough to Valley Dar that perhaps the party could have some sort of a friendship come of this. Maybe some sort of storyline thing could come out of it, but we're gonna jump into that when we begin. But before we go any further, I did want to talk a little bit more about some of these key themes and things we've run into before we get, started. First of all, it's getting dark. I know it doesn't look dark with the camera, but it's starting to get dark out here. Good old autumn for you. But the party has come in a few different iterations up to this point. And one thing that's a bit unfortunate is we haven't had a lot of really great dungeon delves to get a lot of treasure. And that's been kind of keeping us away from big level ups. I've never wanted to force anything onto the map, like just spawn a dungeon and create our own like Tristram Diablo dungeon right next door kind of deal. Because I feel like that kind of ruins a little bit of the validity of having it be a randomly generated world. So we're constantly on the lookout for somewhere to get treasure reliably, get some level ups in the party. Because as of right now, our party is comprised of Zion, the thief. We also have Tamond, our ranger. We also have Todrick, our evil dwarf. And we have Idalar, our evil illusionist. With this group and no assistance, our party have managed to get themselves pretty far away from home, and we've done quite a bit. But again, something about just not having enough treasure to get the level ups has been a bit of a damper. But I think that having a magic weapon now and having come across some good allies, it's helped us out a bit to be able to make something work. But I do hope that in the next 10 episodes, we're able to come up with some other means of generating wealth, run into something fun that can help us out. And who knows, maybe the village we had just stepped into is one that'll be able to help us out with that, right? But beyond that, something I did very early on in this game, and something I kind of wanted to make good of, is I used the myth system, the mythic system for solo play. They have a GM emulator, a bit of an oracle for creating, well, a meaning out of the chaos for when you're running these games solo. And I had come up with a 2-word combination that would help us potentially come up with some meaning for the storyline. Originally, I used this as a way to potentially flesh out the campaign background, the campaign setting, but the more and more I play it, I kind of feel like that's not really all that necessary, But what I did get for the terms was imprisoned jealousy. And there's a part of me that thinks maybe I could use that now to impact the game moving forward. And maybe what I can do is I can roll up a new one every 10 episodes. And what I'll do is when I reach the next 10th episode, so in our case it'll be episode 21, I'll put that 2-word combo into effect as the story stands right then and there. So with imprisoned jealousy, it feels to me like I could definitely see the Castellan over at Castle Nijo, after having heard about Validar, maybe feeling the desire to take over, and maybe not directly imprisoning people, but putting them under his control and his rulership, right? And I think that this jealousy of them having money that he doesn't have, that having people there who might be able to work for him and generate him more wealth, more prestige, I think that would be a cool way to create some underlying conflict that'll exist in the game. And so maybe we can find a way to track that moving forward, So without further ado, and before I get hit by a car out here on the road, I think it's time we hop back to the table. So why don't you come back with me to the basement? I'm gonna start hitchhiking. Also, sorry, second your thoughts after I finished recording just there, and something I wanted to include while I have mood lighting out here in the middle of nowhere. I wanted to say that after making 10 sessions and beginning the 11th session here, it has been a tremendous time making this for all of you. And I know I'm not getting ridiculous numbers, and I know I'm not seeing tons of people trafficking through, but the people that I've had interacting with the channel and the people who have been commenting and sharing their thoughts and never missing an episode, you know, I really appreciate it. I know I say that a lot. I try to be very appreciative. I never want to lose that, you know. As somebody who does podcasting and makes music and all that, I've never blown up. I've never had like a following before, but I feel like the people on YouTube that I've gotten the pleasure of interacting with and talking to and commenting with, and this interesting solo gaming space that apparently is alive and well, it's been great interacting with all of you. And one thing that I hope will carry through for the next 10 episodes is more interactions. You know, I hope to include you guys more and more in this whole project of mine. And, you know, as much as I love the randomness of the solo project, I also appreciate the collaborative effort, you know? So, I guess, to put it short, I'm so happy that you people have enjoyed it. I'm so happy that you guys have interacted as much as you have. And I'm hoping that, I don't know. I want to see where this goes, and I hope that you all enjoyed as much as I have. So, thank you, sincerely. But really, we got to get to the basement. Pronto. It's getting dark. There's wolves out there. I know I've made the joke before about XP, but I would lose that fight. The wolves out here, I'd lose that fight. All right, let's get started. You know, at the time I'm recording this, there really is only about a week until Halloween. It would be a shame if I didn't get a little festive. All right, let's try this out. All right, transition skills and... Okay, this feels a little bit more appropriate than the Fenway Frank. Yeah, I also don't want to admit how long I just was poking myself in the eye to put in my colored contact lenses. As much as I think that would really sell the ambiance, I could always just do this and get spooky. I don't know. I don't know if that's oh. Yeah, the ambiance is really there. Anyway, I'm trying, you know, and that's really what matters, right? Yeah. So anyway, we're back at the table now, and we're also with our party here in Charldross, the village that we had designed before. Charldross, like we said before, is that river-based village, and we had left off on an interesting note where we talked about what the Eternal Youth Secret Society might be up to, and I've tried to think a little bit about this. I don't want to think too much about it and you know, get ahead of myself here, as it were. I want to let the dice do a bit of the talking, but I want to dive into that, and yeah, so come meet me at the table. I got something to show you. All right, so I don't often use the freehand camera here, but I wanted to show, first and foremost, the spammy pack. It's a fanny pack. That's a spammy pack, and it's where I'm keeping a newest collection of dice that I got. And I also got this little doohickey here, and I figured this might be kind of a funny addition to the basement. Where now, wow, look at that, some dice. That's not the full set. That's depressing. Who belongs in the set? You see, colorblindness is this fun thing that I deal with, where I'm like, these are so close in color for me, and like, I don't know, maybe they're close in color for you, but look at this dice set is pretty sweet. I got it off Amazon for pretty cheap. I'm usually a Chessex kind of guy, but I don't know, I thought these were some decent colors, you know. These ones are pretty cool. They all have the sparkle going on. The font, I'm not super crazy about. Again, I'm a Chessex purist, so I really like to have font that's pretty standard, pretty legible. I'm just gonna grab a handful because I've got a few more sets over here. It wasn't a bad price. I was trying to figure out some colors that would go nice together as a big conglomerate, but honestly, I feel like at this point, I'm better off just scooping a handful and You know what I mean? Doing the whole whatever I can get is what I've got. But like, there's some that are really neat in here, if I can catch this. Here, I've been using the light over there for this. But like, you know, there's some cool colors in there if it wants to focus. Yeah, see? Cool. But yeah, there's my there's my rig. Thanks for checking it out. All right. So, as you can see, the border's clear. But in the last episode, we did go to Charldross. And Charldross was a pretty small-sized village, about 240 people there in total, right? The place had a single person in charge, their name being Ilana. Anywho, they're a first-level fighter, nothing super difficult for us to deal with, and they call on a few of the locals to help them out. All things considered, it is a pretty well-built-up little village. But the most important part to deal with is that secret society. And this secret society that we're talking about here, we didn't really nail down details of it, and I kind of opened the floor to you guys about what you thought maybe would make sense for this secret society. And I got one particular comment right here. I'll give you the quick little shout out. But overall, the thinking on this has been, you know, like, what does eternal youth really mean? What does any of this really mean for us? And I definitely have been trying to think about what it is that we could do for this. And as the comment had stated, this is something we can sort of build a bit of a quest around. And I really like the idea of that. I like the idea that this might become its own sort of Diablo 2-ish kind of, or sorry, Diablo 1 and 2-ish kind of, you know, there's the big dungeon in town. It's right down there. The village is right here, and there's the dungeon, and we can kind of get to the bottom of it. Because I like the idea that this cult that we're dealing with, this secret society, is pretty hidden. I don't think that an entire village could have been, you know, in the open about this. And I sure don't think that, you know, as a tributary government, as we said in the last episode, with the Castellan at Castellan Nijo, our friend Lyndon Gontel, he is in charge of the castle, but these people in this village also pay tribute to him, and this is sort of a connected little governance. So I don't think that they would lie to him about what's going on, and I don't think that he would know and then just let this go on. So in my mind, this society probably operates in the town secretly, even from the eye of the people in the village, right? So first and foremost, I was thinking to myself that we should create a quick little table that we can work off of here that would act as sort of our quick roll method for, you know, yeah, let's just do 3. Let's do it this way. And I was thinking to myself, I watched a pretty cool video the other day that was talking about designing factions and having factions that are good, bad, and ugly, right? And the idea that a faction could be a pretty outwardly good faction, the faction could be pretty outwardly bad, or they could be somewhere in the middle, somewhere gray, right? So when making this secret society, I was thinking to myself, what if we did something like this, and we kind of went from there and tried to figure out, like, their intentions. Are they good intentions, bad intentions, or ugly intentions? So let's roll that. All right, so grabbing our handy dandy tower, I'm gonna go ahead and roll a d6. We're gonna do this as a d3. All right, so a 3 would be 2, so it is evil. I don't want to say that that's a good thing, because that feels kind of counterintuitive, but at least this means this is, I almost want to say it's easier to write. Because if we were to write a good secret society that, you know, is all about the eternal youth, that might be kind of difficult for us to work out, right? Because, you know, it's hard to explain that part of it away. So they're bad. But I want to know now, let's see, what are their means? Is this the kind of thing that's like fiendish, right? Do they have, sorry, I'll continue my coloring. Same way I had done before. Are these people going to be fiendish? It's okay, I can spell. Do. Will they be fiendish? Will they be monstrous? Or will they be undead? Or, you know, I'll even add a 4th one in just for you guys, just because you're so awesome. Number 4 will be, is it something aberrant? Like something otherworldly, right? So let's roll a d4 and let's see what we get. A 2, so it's monstrous. Interesting. So our monstrous... Intriguing. Monstrous eternal youth. I wonder if that means that there's like sort of a single monstrous force here that's pushing this onward, or if this is some sort of like monstrous thing that happens to the people, or because like what is a monster really? Wow, how philosophical. But if this is like a monstrous cause, then it makes me wonder, where would I even begin? I mean, again, we've been doing tables here, so maybe we should continue that work. So let's see, maybe, why don't we roll on our D6 table real quick? Our D6 Oracle. And then the question I have is, will this involve some form of transformation? Because I think that that makes sense for it to be monstrous. But, you know, you know what I mean? Like, is this a play on the idea of eternal youth, that like they're becoming plants or something? You know what I mean? Oop. That die could not wait to get out of here. Okay, 4. As I pick up the other die that decided to run away. A 4 is no, but. So no, it's not transformative, but people are altered? You know, like their form's not changing, but they definitely change because of it. That's cool. Okay, I can work with that. Yeah, okay, cool. So they're bad, monstrous, and the people are changed. Okay, interesting. And I think that obviously this change is going to be more metaphoric, maybe a little bit physical, but you know, probably more metaphoric, that they behave differently, right? Okay, so now I guess my question would be, when making this secret process here, is this a spell? Is this some kind of, you know, I keep opening up this marker and squeaking it. Or is this going to be something of like a ritual? So let's see. So, okay, let's see. Okay, first we're going to say the cause, or at least like the device, the means with which we're transforming. Is there a monster that does this? Right? Is there a spell that's cast? Is there a device that does this? Or is there some sort of, yeah, why don't we just do these 3? Because these are the 3 that came to mind, and we'll start with that. Okay, D6, treat it as D3, it's a spell. Interesting. Okay, so now we'll keep going down this list of casters and all that. So, okay, I guess we'll just kind of flip a coin now. Evens, this will be arcane, and odds, it'll be divine. Okay, so it's a divine spell, which I guess in this case would mean that it's brought on by some sort of deity, right? But it's monstrous, so it's, okay, so maybe they're being transformed more into the image of the thing, or something like that, like their brains are being altered. So I guess, again, I don't want to work myself into a corner where I make a very specific thing here, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so we know that it's an evil society. They are sort of monstrous in nature, which I think we could say is divine. Like there's a monstrous beast down there, like some sort of deific creature that exists at the bottom of this spooky dungeonous lair that it has. And this monstrous creature is worshipped, thus divine. And there's a spell that they cast thanks to this divine creature. And when the people cast it, they are given extended life, but they are changed because of it. Okay, this is starting to come together pretty cool. All right. But which way do we go now? This is a lot of detail, and I think that it's important that we consider now. So I guess this kind of gives us some necessities here that we have to work with. So we know that there's a lair, right? Because this is where the monster lives to some extent, this beast, right? So there's a beast in there, and this beast, here I'm going to do my little notation. So this beast, he grants them the spell. Now, another question, and this is something that just came to me, is why is it that this beast can't cast it? So I'm thinking maybe the beast can't cast it cursed. And I'm thinking it's probably cursed from whoever made it, right? And I'm thinking that maybe this monster was stupid enough to try to go against whatever god or thing gave it its original power. And what it did, it was cursed that it couldn't cast the spell to keep itself alive. But the people explore the dungeon, they find it, they're persuaded by the gifts, and they, help out doing it. But having done it, I think that there's maybe some sort of curse. Ooh, maybe the monster itself has some sort of curse on them. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm thinking that, this is like the second curse in this campaign. I can live with that. So maybe it's not a curse. Maybe there's something in the dungeon that this monster has been keeping tracked up. Like maybe there's the monsters, the original denizens of this dungeon, are down there deep in the bottom. And the beast swears that if ever the secret gets out, or if ever people find out about it, or something like that, it'll send its monstrous minions up to the surface to get rid of everybody. But the monster itself knows that it'll die if it doesn't have the spell to elongate its life. So, okay. Alright, so we'll say... Okay. Cool. So the people must keep secret or beast release monsters. Cool. And I'm thinking to myself too about this monster creature that we're creating here, and I'm thinking to myself that like this beast itself is kind of interesting. It almost reminds me of an aboleth. I don't think I want to do an aboleth necessarily, though an aboleth would be pretty cool. I can't remember the name of the module off the top of my head, but anybody who remembers, put it in the comments down below. But there is that one with the ancient city. Dwellers of the Forbidden City, maybe? But there's an aboleth in the city, and it's like in the well, down beneath everything in the big grotto of water, and it can keep tabs on people through the well. So I do kind of like that idea. But maybe we'll say that this thing is like some weird kind of like half plant monster or something, and it has the plants around town which themselves are abundant, and the monster uses those plants to kind of come to this place and to stay in this place, and that explains the divine part of it. And it pulls people into this village because it offers them food, plenty of food, and all that water, right? And I'm thinking that by offering them this, the people are more likely to come here, go down deep into the bowels below, explore, and find what it is that's down there. Okay, cool. So let's think about this monster then. This beast is clearly creepy. It's got something to do with plants. And honestly, the idea that the plants give extended life, kind of like that potion of longevity, that seems kind of fun. And I think the idea of having a plant-based dungeon, at least to a certain extent, can be really cool for us too. So I like running with that. So it'll be a plant-based beast. And I think having it have some name like, I feel like the name Warden comes up. It always reminds me of 4th edition and that cool class they had, the Warden. I know certain systems have brought it back a little bit, but I like the idea that the name is maybe like the Warden of the Verdant Deep. Ran out of room there. Whoop. So the Warden of the Verdant Deep. Sounds almost like Conan, right? Like some kind of Conan-ish kind of pulp fantasy thing. So it's plant-based. I'm almost imagining some kind of like Minotaur-ish creature. So maybe what we can do is we can mash a Minotaur with something else that's creepy and bestial, just to make it, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like something to make it unique, but also like sort of close enough to us. Maybe what we'll do, why don't we roll a random encounter and we'll see what we get. And we'll see if a random encounter gives us a beast that's kind of, you know, makes sense, I guess. And then what we'll do is we'll just like mash them together and we'll stat it up as we go along here. But for right now, we'll know that the thing's intelligent. I'm thinking we're gonna be on this page. So let's go ahead and roll for our random encounter. We'll do a D4 and a D10, and we'll see what it is across the line of all three of the higher level. Well, we'll do these 4 levels of dungeon. Oops. All right, so a 1-7 would give us 1-7. So 1-7 offers us a coffer corpse, a disenchanter, a white dragon, and a gold dragon. You know, I did see a carcass crawler, and that seems kind of fun. So why don't we mix a carcass crawler, which, you know, anybody who's unaware is a carrion crawler, mixed with, yeah, right, it's the legally, you know, distinguished. So we'll do a Minotaur mixed with a carrion crawler, and honestly, what's cool is I actually created the stats for a creature not too long ago that's the Militar, right? Or a Centaur, like a centipede Minotaur kind of creature here. But I like the idea that it's sort of that mixed with a druid, right? It's got the ability to communicate with the plants and all that jazz. But I think that that's fun enough for this. So, okay, so now that we've got this weird plant-like dungeonous kind of place and this plant-like dungeonous beast, why don't we come up with a name then for this secret society? I'm thinking our secret society might have a name like, again, the name Verdant is cool, but maybe the word emerald can come in there. So why don't we, emerald, Well, we never really got to the idea of how they give them their eternal youth. I know it's a spell, so maybe there's some sort of like ritual cast in a very specific place, and there's a spell cast, and that specific place is where the eternal life comes from. I almost wonder if like we need to sacrifice bodies to this like sacred mulch pit. But maybe there's like some sort of plant like root bed that they need to like put people into to have them digested, and then this blood fruit comes from it, right? So, and then the dining on that blood fruit is what lets people live for that longevity potion there. Emerald. Well, I'm thinking the roots, right? So I'm almost wondering if like the word root maybe comes in here. Maybe we could say something. I'm trying to think of a good word for root. You know, and I think of the word root bound and being kind of a plant nerd. I just think of like unhealthy plants. Like who doesn't think about unhealthy plants? But I'm thinking that the, maybe, you know what, we'll keep it emerald. We'll call them servants of the Emerald Sanctuary. Cool. Excellent. All right, I can live with that. Servants of the Emerald Sanctuary, with the beast, the warden of the verdant deep. Woo! Okay, cool. Excellent. All right, so now that I feel like we've got our sort of setup here, I think, again, we're kind of leaning into this idea that there's a dungeon abound. I know when we rolled up Charldross, there was a citadel, and I'm thinking that maybe the citadel itself has, like, it's a ruined citadel, that people are eschewed from going there. And I'm thinking the reason why is because there's probably monsters all around it, right? And the place just sort of weirdly like everybody here weirdly knows that the monsters there don't come over to here, even though they're like suspiciously close, right? And I'm sorry, I'm just like randomly saying this now and kind of putting this all out here, but I think this all works. And I'm thinking that there's the Citadel in the distance, and the Citadel, it has those monsters that get there, they eat the fruit, and I'm almost thinking in almost like a Lotus Eaters kind of way, they are sedated, or at least like held as prisoners or something like that. I'm gonna just draw a quick little sketch of the idea of this kind of general area. So here's the main river, which itself is probably nestled between some hills. I'm thinking that because we said that our town here of Charldross had a moat around it, I'm thinking that maybe this whole section right here is the general shape of the place, and we'll have the other bit of river wrap around it, and that way we'll have something of like a rough moat around the place, right? And then we'll have a bridge out of here, and then we'll have the bridge up here that the party are going to be coming on through, and we have Charldross. Okay, and then we have way over here in the hills, we'll say that there's the hills over yonder, and there's the Citadel. Cool. Now, naturally, I'm thinking that there will be creatures that take advantage of this place, or at least try to. So I'm imagining there's going to be some random ruffians in this area over here, but the people of town will obviously not want anybody going over there. So that's the kind of thing that, the peace of the people, they think, don't mess with that place and bring whatever's going on over here. Naturally, the cultists love this because they also don't want anybody going in there and figuring out what's going on, potentially getting them in trouble or figuring out, their whole shibiggity there. Excellent. So now that we've got this, I kind of think that we could just kind of roll on into town. Okay, so yeah, let's roll into town. Okay, so naturally the party are going to approach the gatehouse over here. As one would imagine, there's the wooden palisades and there's probably the gates up at the top. And so let's roll for a quick reaction as the party approach. This place was pretty much neutral, but because of our party members, we get the +1 on our reactions. Thank you, Zion, for being attractive. Cool, so 7, 8, so they're neutral at the gate. So as the party approach, the people at the gatehouse just ask them what their business is, and the party answer honestly that they're travelers looking for shelter, and they're hoping to stay here for the night and maybe gain information of the local area, purchase some stuff, and maybe do some work. So I'm thinking that with a +2 on this one, because everybody wants people that are good, honest, hardworking, and looking for some reason to help. Okay, so the +2, that brings us to a 10. So the people at the gatehouse allow them entry, and I'm imagining that there's probably no toll, all things considered, out here. Well, I mean, they are kind of a landlocked little spot, so it wouldn't surprise me if they were. But judging by the fact that we've got, we'll give a gold piece so that we can all come in. I think that's a fair amount for the party to enter on their horsies. Okay. Nice. So after having done that, our party are able to come into this place, and I suppose we have, again, some more questions to answer. I know that we had a tavern in town that we had created called the Oiled Cauldron, and I'm thinking that the party would probably immediately head over to a place like that. So let's go stat out the Oiled Cauldron, shall we? Okay, so here we are headed to the Oiled Cauldron, and I'm gonna bust out the sandbox generator book again because I do like their section on this. So let's see, for a tavern. Okay, so we already got that. All right, decoration in this place. It's it's a D24. These people and their funky dice, and I know I put my D24 somewhere else. So let's see, 20 gives us skulls and bones. I think we got that last time too. I kind of want to roll it again. So we'll get skulls and bones, and a 10 gives us naughty drawings. Jeez, okay, skulls and bones, and there's naughty drawings drawn on the counter. Oh, yeah, right, let's get a bartender going. So our bartender will be, Evans will be a woman. Okay, so we got a lady, and her name will be, how about Mina? Okay, cool, easy peasy. Mina, and then we have our traits, 2d20s. Mina is 313. She's, oh geez, disturbed. Okay, we'll do 13 and 3. So disturbed and a cocktail master. Wait, she's nice. A cocktail master. I wouldn't just say disturbed again. So she's nice and a cocktail master, apparently. Cool. All right, now that we've got Mina, our nice cocktail master, the servers, it's a D10. All right, our table says on a 3, they have weapons. Ooh. Okay. So the servers are armed. Which is interesting because I think the assumption when we came in here is that they were told no weapons around in this place. Okay. So let's see, a specific server. Let's roll a d20 and see what we got for a specific server. A 14 gives us a single parent. Damn. Well, I already feel a quest hook for them. Single parent. Their child was abducted for the cult ritual. Cool. Well, not so cool for her. Now D12 for our patrons. Some of these patrons might be a little loopy. We've got a 4, so 4 says commoners. That's good. So we've got our commoners. I can spell. And a specific customer, we'll do a D20, see what we get on that. A 19 gives us a traveler, so a fellow traveler. You know, a traveling drifter might be target for abduction. I just love how I get one quest-worthy thing, and I'm like, so everything points to that. Okay. Entertainment, I don't think we need to necessarily do all of that. The rooms, special rooms, the outside. Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need to get into all of these things, but I think that sometimes, yes, rumors. Okay, let's roll a d20. We'll see what we get for rumors to create some potential extra quests. Okay, let's see, 15. Someone with a bounty on their head is hiding nearby. Cool. So rumors, we'll say people go missing. I would say that's probably like 1 per month. Because I feel like that feels like a fair amount, right? And then the other one was someone with a bounty is hiding nearby. Okay, so here's what's interesting. Then it says to use the D6 to state the truthfulness. A 1 says it's true. Okay, cool. That makes life easier, I suppose. All right, and then the sign. I don't think we necessarily need the sign. Special. Oh, okay. All right, cool. So that works for me. So here we have our oiled cauldron. Excellent. So I also feel like it's fair that we roll a random encounter now that we've entered this village. A 6. Okay, we're cool. So now that we walk into the tavern and our party come in here looking for a place to stay, some food to eat, the party are going to throw 2 gold pieces down so that everybody can eat and another 2 pieces so that everybody can stay here. So 4 gold pieces in, and our party are sitting pretty, though we are running out of money soon. So I imagine the party make themselves known here, right? I'm gonna roll for reaction, just, you know, fresh faces, +1 on the roll, so that brings us to a 7, so it's neutral. So the party make themselves known. They probably approach Mina. Mina has, she's nice, so I'll actually bump that up to an 8 because she probably counts as a +1 to reaction. The party approach and they say that they're travelers from the west from Valley Dar. They maybe mention the castle to the north in Nijo, and they say that, and I'm sure Mina explains to them that yes, the castellan up there does look over this place, and for that reason they're like, you know what I mean? It's well known that he's not a very nice guy, but he provides support and protection, and she probably mentions at this point that people go missing on occasion, and I'm gonna roll another reaction to see if she'll divulge the information about her server. 7, that brings us to a 9. That seems good to me. +1 because of Mina being nice, and +1 because Zion is approachable. So at this point, she probably divulges, she points over to one of the servers and says, you know, whispering under her breath, she says, just a couple months ago, her daughter went missing. She wasn't a day older than 10 years old, and she was out fishing on the river, and nobody knows where she went. She's a good swimmer, but somehow she went missing and she never came home that night. People are worried that maybe it was some monsters from the Citadel, and they had come over here and maybe scooped her up and ate her up. Now, again, here's another thing I want to check. So, because we are where we are in the hills, I think it's safe to say that we can roll for a random encounter to see what kind of creatures would find their way over to the Citadel and hang out there. Obviously, I allow myself to re-roll just because, you know, if we get something goofy, I don't want to be held fast to that. So for hills, we got 5 and 14. 5 is humanoid, a great start. Table B, 14. I swear to God, I didn't look, but if it's ogres, 14 is orcs. Cool. Okay, I love that. So we got orcs. So in that case, Mina mentions that there's orcs that live over in the Citadel, but for some reason they never come out of their lair there. And it's the strangest thing. The orcs never come out. They stay there, but people have claimed to have seen them, but really nobody has any veritable proof of that. So it's just this very strange situation, right? So, you know, not to break away from this little setup we've got here, but I'm thinking that maybe we should consider, well, at least now we know that there's orcs there, right? So we know that there's orcs, and so that way we can make the orc layer and the leader and all that stuff when we decide to make our way over there. So the party, after having dealt with orcs in the past, probably figure this is the kind of thing that they could handle at the very least. And I'm wondering at this point, they probably, I mean, being good characters, though joined by people like Todrick and Idalar, they'll probably ask if there's something of a cash reward. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll on our D6 to see, is there a cash reward for finding the girl or what happened to the girl? 4, no but. So no, but Mina probably mentions that with everybody that's gone missing so much over the years, they would probably offer a reward for finding the whereabouts of anybody else that went missing, and they'd be friends of the tavern and be able to stay here for free. I think that's fair. Okay, so we've got that, and now I think the party are probably ripping and rearing to get out there and go adventure. But they're also told by Mina, because I know Mina wouldn't want to keep that away from them, that there is definitely, it's taboo to go over there. It's not safe to go over there, and if ever danger was stirred up, the party would not be allowed to come back. And Mina, being a nice person, would probably explain to them that if she knows something went wrong when they went out there, she would not hesitate to explain to the guards that this was that it was the party, right? Now here's my question. Does Mina know about the cult? Or even an inkling? 5, no. Okay, so there's no connection there. Next question. Does the cult keep an eye out inside the tavern for people like our traveler? 6, no and. No and. You know what? I'm gonna say no, they don't look for people like that to just pull in here, and they instead are very hospitable to travelers, hoping that they will live here and become members of the society, build it up so that it's easier to get people, rather than just pluck every new person who comes off the street, right? That makes sense. Sounds like a smart organization. Too bad they worship weird gorilla minotaur carrion crawler plant man. Okay, so now that we've got this in line, the party have an interesting quest on their hands. They want to head to the Citadel. They want to go figure out what's going on. And yeah, I mean, I don't really see anything holding them back from doing this. I imagine they're probably going to stay here for the day, or at least for the night, and in the morning they'll head over. So, okay, cool, let's get into it. All right, so I rolled our weather already, and it would seem that we have clear skies and fair weather for this temperate summer day. So, our party are going to make their way out of town stealthily early in the morning, making their way out. So now I'm going to roll in the D6 Oracle to see, does anybody notice the party heading towards the Citadel? 5. No. Excellent. Okay, this is working out very well for us, but also kind of scary. I kind of don't like how easy this is going. So now that we're moving up to this place, I think now's a good time for us to consider the Citadel, as it were, having a map. So I'm gonna go grab a Dyson Logos map, just because Dyson's kind of the king of this stuff. And I'm gonna put the map that we're gonna use, at least for the outside top floor here, I'm gonna put it right here for you guys. Okay, cool. All right, so as we can see, there's a bit of a walk up to the place, and there's the main floor, there is the tower, and then there's a little peep that goes down into the bottom below. Now, I'm thinking to myself that there must be potentially like a secret door in the level below, and I'm gonna combine sort of a Frankensteining of maps to make a larger, system of maps that make sense for what we're doing here. But I think, at least for right now, what we need to concern ourselves with is the fact that there's sort of the hilly shape here, and we have our sort of walk up, and we have the keep, right? And then there's the tower on the front. Really rough. So let's do this sort of piece by piece here. Now the party are going to, well, I guess it'll be kind of reversed, so. Yeah. Again, we're just going to reverse the map. We'll just do the whole north is south, south is north thing, as people do. And, because it is on a hill. So the party are going to be approaching from over here, right? Coming from the town in the distance. And as they're making their way up, a couple questions. Now, when we say that these orcs are sedated, I'm imagining that means that they are like tripping, right? Like they're not doing well. They're hanging out here, and they're enough of a threat that like they'll be jostled and alarmed when they are approached, but how much they're going to be keeping an eye outside during the daylight is not likely, I think. So I'm going to roll for the chance of the party being spotted. They're only going to get spotted on a 1 in 6. Okay. Cool. And then the random encounter for the hills, 2. That's actually, we actually got an encounter. Okay, so, of course we got an encounter on the way to the dungeon. Now, that's kind of interesting. Makes me wonder what could be waiting for us out here in the hills. A D8 and a D20. 3 and a 15. 3 is a dragon, which of course it is. 15 is a pseudo-dragon. Huh. Intriguing. So, I think it's safe to say that the party... Well, you know what? We ran into that pseudo-dragon absolutely forever ago on the opposite side of the map. So it's probably going to be a completely different one. But I'm thinking that the party are just going to disregard it, even if they see it, knowing darn well that this is not the time to be dealing with pseudo-dragons. So we'll just kind of continue on our merry way. So at least we know that we're not going to be spotted. The party approach roughly, and they realize there's no chance of them being seen, or at least it doesn't seem like anybody's seen them. So I guess the question now is, are they just going to march right up to it? I imagine they're going to stake the place out for a few hours and look for any signs of life here, right? Which, in the case of our orcs, I imagine would probably be the sign of smoke. And the party would probably see that there's really no smoke in the air, maybe like the lightest chuffs of smoke coming up from the broken roof of the of the fort or something, but I really don't think that they would see anything like that. So I don't know. Let's roll. Yes and. So yes and, they probably hear the sounds of people coughing and laughing in the distance, carrying on the air. But it seems like it's probably only a couple of these orcs. So I guess the party would feel kind of confident in approaching, knowing that there's going to be something of a fight, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be overwhelming odds. So the party are definitely going to try to skulk up and get a better idea. So I think Zion will sneak up there, and she's going to get some pretty hefty bonuses because she's stealthing against some smelly dum-dum orcs. So let's get Zion at the ready, and we'll get her rolling. Yeah, Todrick. Come on, man. All right, so let's see. As a first level thief, her ability to move silently. So off the bat, she has a 20% chance of success, but because these orcs are just so laughably not paying attention, I'm gonna say it's a 50% chance. So if we get below 51, she's all set. So let's see. Cool, 11. So she sneaks right on up to the front, and she walks up to one of the windows of the tower, I'm guessing, and peeks through. And I'm imagining, at this point, we probably need to know how many orcs are actually to be found out here. Again, because this is an orc, I don't want to say a stronghold, but it's definitely a layer of them. And I want to make sure I get the right amount here, because I know with number appearing, it's a little bit fuzzy sometimes about how to do the math for number appearing. So let's quickly do it. So monster layer in the wilderness, the second value multiplied by 5 is the number of monsters found in their layer. So it's 1d6 times 10 and times 5 to get the layer. So 1d6 times 10 is 30. So that would be 150 total in this layer if this is like the big layer. Now, in that same section, it said monster layer in the dungeon is a number that would be found on their layer in the dungeon. So I think 30 makes more sense than 150. I think that giant encampment we had found before is probably more likely for, you know, out in the where they have a fort. But beginning this as a small group of orcs, being kind of just the guardians of the entrance here, I don't think that it would make sense for there just to be a whole mess of them. But 30 is still a pretty good amount. I'm imagining the 30 inhabit the total of the outside, like the above ground of this fort here. So I'm thinking as she approaches and takes a peek and looks inside, she can probably tell that with 30 of them here, there is, I mean, maybe like 6 of them that are hanging out here on watch, right? And by on watch, I mean like barely awake. Okay. And I also have a little bit here that says for every 20 orcs, there's a 1 in 6 chance of an ogre. So let's see. Yeah, I figured our ogre luck is kind of running out. So at this point we have a leader, but I don't see a reason for us to have a chieftain. So we'll have an orc leader in the group as well. Cool. Okay. So she peeks through. She sees 6 or 7 of them inside that first little tower section, and she creeps over and starts maybe attempting to scale the wall. So let's see if she can scale pretty easily. Yep, she manages. So she climbs up and she peeks through the other bits of window here. And I'm imagining that with all this, she's still able to move silently. And she's able to see that there are probably around 30 of them in total in this place. And, okay. Yeah, so she will silently skulk away afterwards and make her way back to the party to tell them of this news. Okay, cool. So now that we have this in mind, I'm thinking that our party would probably want to be careful about how they handle this. Now, I'm thinking that our party would... Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I suppose we can just kind of run up on this thing and maybe... Because this is where it gets difficult, because it's like, it's hard to know how we would want to approach this, because we're definitely not going to get help from the people in the town. We'd have to really persuade them and change their minds, but we don't have money to change their minds, and we're probably going to get run out of town by the cultists who would take a very firm idea that we exist, by, you know, riling people up and getting them to come out here. So I'm thinking the party will probably just try to ambush and just slaughter as many as they can and probably scare them out of here. Orcs don't have a crazy good morale, so we actually run a pretty good chance of just, you know, scaring them off. So, okay, so we'll have the party come walking back up. We'll see, we'll surprise only, we'll be, sorry, they will catch us on a 1. Okay, so the party goes shuffling up to the main doorway here, and I'm going to show a map, show where the main doorway looks like, where the party are going to be skulking through. Okay, so now that we have our little picture here of the entryway in that little area there, I'm thinking that with 30 dispersed in the whole place, that entryway itself probably has about 1d6 of them hanging out by that door. One single orc by the door. Okay, so the party kick open the door, and because there's surprise on our side, that one orc by the door is not going to see us coming, but I imagine at this point, our actions, Todrick is going to see the guy and just try to sledge his head in. Tamond, I say Tamarind every single time. Tamond will probably try to stab him with his sword, and I'm imagining Idalar will have a spell ready if anything proves to be a greater threat, his spell of Chromatic Orb, and Zion will be ready with her longbow, or short bow rather. Todrick has his super fancy schmancy Wrath of Karuk, so we're gonna roll that one real quick on our orc. A fumble, my goodness. So we said on a fumble he swings at an ally. That's not good. So he's gonna swing on Tamond. 11. Okay, and he has a +2 to hit. Oh no, +3 to hit, so that's a 14. Ooh, wait a minute. We might actually hit our friend pretty good in the chest on this one. Tamond's armor class is a 4. Todrick's, his Thaco is a 19. So in order to hit a 4, he would have to roll a 15. So he swings in and nearly clips Tamond's head clean off of his body, swinging way too hard. That was way too close for comfort. Oh my. Okay, so we'll roll now for Tamond. Tamond hits, however, with his weapon. So he's going to go ahead and swing, and he's going to deal with his longsword a d8 +1 of damage to this orc at the door. He deals 7 points, and the orc at the door, who only has 4 hit points and an AC of 6, he is very quickly and easily stabbed through the chest, and the orc falls dead to the ground with a squeal. Now, I'm thinking that with the kicking in the door and all that stuff, the orcs inside are probably all riled up. Now, in their state, I'm going to say that the orcs will probably suffer a -1 to all attacks that they give, just because of the state with the plants and everything. But I'm imagining as the party break into this place, they can see that there's roots on the walls in here, and they can see that there's like fruit, like, I don't want to say this, like the bulbs that the fruit's plucked off of, and they can see piles of like half-eaten cores of this weird jellyish fruit. It's almost like a grapefruit with an edible skin, and it's just a bunch of like fibrous kind of goopy insides. I imagine it's blood red, right? Like juicy blood red everywhere. And okay, disgusting, but that's at least that opening part. So now we got to consider the rest of the orcs are probably going to start riling up. We have 29 more of them inside this place, including a leader to deal with. And I'm imagining that the party at the doorway at least have a good choke point. So I'm thinking what we might do is we might hang out by the doorway and see how well we can defend ourselves before something comes over the edge to drop things down below. But being that it's daylight, the orcs probably don't want to deal with that. So this might be a good chokehold for us. Nice little choke point here. Okay, so I'm thinking that the party will now probably prepare for a charge. And so, well, let's take a look at the map and see what makes the most sense for the party. Because I think to myself, we have a few options. We could either rush in try to find a place to hang out, but the opening inside this area here, like the big open, section, they could fire down at us or throw things down at us. But again, because it's daylight, I'd imagine the orcs probably aren't even up there, right? They're probably all within the tower and that actual building part. So I think the party might even charge in, recognizing there's probably no guards on watch out in the daylight. So, okay, we'll do that. We'll say the party will march in at full speed, and they will keep their eyes on the stairs and try to prepare for someone to come running out. Now, imagining the orcs that are inside that were ready to go, we said 6 or 7 of them, will probably book it and try to make their way out here as fast as they can. Now, judging by their speed, which is 40 feet per round, they won't be able to make it in time, but I'm imagining both sides will probably make it about halfway. So we'll roll for initiative. Let's get a good different ones. So the party will be this die and the orcs will be this die. Okay, so the orcs move first, kicking open one of the doors from the tower and running their way down, making their way about halfway, and the party charge. So in the next round, they will definitely be, whoever's moving first will be the one to encounter the other side. So I'm imagining at this point, Zion's gonna stand back, and Idalar will as well, and he'll be at the ready to chuck a dagger or be there to cast a spell. So yeah, maybe we'll prepare with a dagger for now. Okay, so now we'll say that Todrick and Tamund will charge up the stairs and make their way up to the enemy that way. So let's see who wins the charge. Okay, so the party win the charge with a 3 on their 2. So the party charge up and around the bend with Zion and Idalar waiting at the ready at the lower level there to shoot up at them. And Tamund and Todrick reach the group of 6 of them, and they're gonna just start swinging. Hey, we're gonna hope for the best. All right, no more fumbles from that sweet Karuk there. All right, with a Karak instead, he's able to swing in with that club, the mighty club there, and we're able to deal, I'm imagining, a chunk of damage. It's a D6 plus 3. Wow. D6 plus 3. Woo! 9 points of damage. My goodness. So the orc right in the front, when they charge up, is absolutely splattered and killed. Tamund swings in. He gets, Tamund adds a +1, so a 10 is not enough to hit on that one. I'm going to roll for morale real quick, just to see if the orcs break on the, well, never mind. I'll roll that in the next turn. So the 5 orcs that are left are going to just continue to swing on those 2. So I'll have the first couple orcs in the front swing because there's not going to be enough room for all of them to do it. So we'll do the front 2. So we got a 15, which is a hit, and a 3, which is a miss. That 15, well, I guess we got to check to see if it's a hit because Tamund's armor class is a 4. Ew, but Todrick's is a 7. So on evens, it'll be aimed at Todrick. Okay, so it's aimed at Todrick. That's definitely a hit. He has a maximum hit points of 8. These guys are going to just swing a d6 for damage. Shoo, 3. Tough. All right, so it seems Todrick has 5 HP left now. Cool. So now, very well, the party, and I suppose now that they've charged up, the next round we can have our ranged characters attack. So we'll do the next round, we'll continue with melee, and then, well, actually, we'll start with the morale. Orcs morale is a 6 and an 8 with their leader, and with a 7? I always get these mixed up, right? Yeah, 52. I know. Okay, so with a 7, the orcs are actually going to flee. So let's see who wins the initiative. All right, so party lose the initiative, and the orcs flee, running back into the tower. And as they do flee, it gives us a bonus on attacks versus them. The party are going to pursue, chasing after them and making their way to the door of the tower where the rest of pretty much all of them are, or at least half, and then the other half are going to be upstairs. But the party are going to chase them, and when they make it up to the door, Tamund and Todrick are going to be able to attack again. Okay, now we get a bonus of, I believe, a +2 because they're fleeing. That would bring this one to an 11 and this to a 20. So this die definitely is a hit. I should probably identify whose is whose, right? I've been thinking that's Tammin and that's Todrick. But okay, so Todrick, at least we know, slams a hit, kills another one, slapping it over the head, absolutely brutalizing it. An 11 becomes a 12, AC of a 6, so no, we would hit on a 13. Okay, so we're able to kill another one. That brings our total orc count down to 27 because we killed 2 of them there. And now with the 4 that are left, that ran up to that doorway. In that turn, Zion and Idalar follow behind, climbing up the stairs behind them as per our map. Okay, so now our party are at the door to the tower there. And I'm thinking that this bottom floor of the tower, we're probably gonna have half of the total, which minus the 6 that we had would mean that inside that total room, we have probably 14 of them. And then we saw 5, so there's 14 in this room. And those ones ran in there fleeing. So yeah. So in this next round, I mean, I'm thinking we might just like hang by the door and just choke point, and just hang by the doorway. And considering there's 4 floors, I was thinking that the upper half would have the 15, would have 14, and the lower half would have 14, the upper half would have 15. So I'm thinking that this floor that they just ran into, again, looking at the image, that sort of like second level, and the bottom floor would have the total of 14. So there's 9 total split between these 2 floors. Including the one that's still running away. So I'm guessing the bottom floor, the bottommost floor, probably has the most of them, and the ones that were on watch were the ones who came scurrying down here to go check on what was going on. So I'm thinking that there's probably just the 1 left on this floor, and then there's the 8 down below, and the one that just ran into this area, leaving the party to see that there's the stairs that continue to go up in the tower and go down in the tower. So he runs into this room, and he's probably going to run downstairs to where there's the rest of the 8 of them. So that's what he'll do now. He'll start running towards the stairs. Now we'll see what happens. Okay, tied initiative. So the party are going to chase, and he's going to run downstairs. So the party follow him downstairs. And again, Zion's going to fire in. He's fleeing, have the bonus on it. So that's D6. 3, so 3 is not a kill, but he's severely wounded. Todrick and Tammin. That's a fumble on the Todrick die. Golly, man. Not a good time. Not a good time indeed. We'll reroll on Todrick to see if he hits Tammin. Okay. So that's not a hit. We did the math before. Plus 3, he would need to roll... Because we have an armor class of a 4, he would have to roll a 15 or higher. That is a 14. Whew. Okay, close one. But now we have all these other orcs. The orc runs into the group of them, and now there's 9 of them in total here on the bottom floor. And again, we'll show the map for the bottom floor. So the party are sort of in that little nestled corner at the bottom of the stairs, and there's the wraparound where we have the little curtain area at the side. So I'm imagining they're pretty well distributed, but the orcs in here are going to cry out for an alarm. Like clearly they're going to shriek out for help because they're going to see that guy come running down here. They're going to back up to try to deal with this whole issue here. But now that we have the 9 orcs downstairs, the one that's still fleeing, the 8 that are remaining downstairs that are not fleeing are going to just charge and attack the party. So I'm imagining Zion's on the stairs firing down, Tammin and Todrick are there at the ready, and as always, our caster is hiding out in the back. Here's my question. Which floor is the leader on? I'm going to roll a d4 to see which one of the 4 levels of the tower the leader's on. Okay, 3. So he's in the floor above the one we just came from. Cool. Okay. So let's roll for initiative. Ooh, shared initiative. So the party are going to stand, and they're going to brace for the charge that's coming towards them. And that's going to be tough. We're going to have 4 orcs swinging on the party, because that's how many we can fit right in front of Todrick and Tammin. Zion will be able to shoot, so we'll get her out of the way first. That's a hit, and she's able to deal 5 points, so that at least kills another one and leaves us with 8 of them down here. Okay, but now for the gruesome part. The party are going to be well, the orcs are going to be swinging in on Todrick and on Tammin. So I'll do 2 on Todrick first. Okay, that's a miss. And with the -1, they only hit, they have the THAC0 of 19. He has an arm class of 7, so they'll hit on a 13 or higher. Okay, so that one was an 18, so that is a hit. 2 points of damage. Okay, so Todrick's health goes down to 3 now. Not great. Not great. And now Tammin. 2 attacks on Tammin. Shoo. Okay, 6 and 7. Cool. Okay, very well. So those 2 survived that. Now the party, Todrick and Tammin, are going to swing in. Man, what I wouldn't give for a crit from Todrick right now. Ooh, okay, 4. Not exactly a crit. Now from Tammin, 17. That's a hit. Okay, so he's going to deal the D8 plus 1. Oops. Come on, little guy, come on out. 4, 5. Cool, so that kills another one, bringing our total on this floor down to 7. Very well. All right, now we're gonna have to roll for initiative. I think the party, or at least Todrick, yeah, I'm thinking they're gonna just stand their ground where they are. We are gonna have to roll for morale. Okay, so the party win the initiative, and I want to roll for the morale for the enemy. See what's going on there. 6. Their morale is a 6, but I'm willing to say that they probably have a penalty because that one guy who ran in there screaming. So I hate to be that person and say they failed the morale and feel like I'm fudging it, but I feel like the morale would be lowered because they don't have their leader, they're crying out for help, and they're kind of trapped down here in the basement with their buddy who just ran in screaming. Okay, so they failed on that. So the party will go first. Again, we'll shoot down at the orcs. 12, and she has a +1 bonus. She needs a 13 to hit, so that's good. 4 is another kill. Now we got the 6 of them. Oh, Tammin, sorry. Tammin's attacking, it's a miss. Todrick is also a miss with a 6. Okay, now our orcs are breaking because they're freaking out, but here's the thing. We have the 15 other orcs that are upstairs who heard the cry and heard the call, so they mobilized, right? So on this orc turn, the orcs are going to start filing downstairs. So the ones from the 3rd floor are now on the 2nd floor, the ones on the 4th floor are now on the 3rd floor. Cool. Well, maybe not cool, but at least it makes sense. So those orcs are going to scurry and run around to the backside. So now our party are going to pursue them on the next turn, and they're going to just try to rout these guys and just slaughter them where they are. Okay, so as the initiative goes, oops. And this is kind of dangerous too, I'm thinking, because, okay, thank God we beat the orcs, because the other orcs coming from the 3rd floor down to the 2nd are going to be on our tails in this next turn. So the party rush into the room, deeper into the backside of the room, and are able to charge through the orcs. We're going to shoot them. That's a fumble on a shot. Good. Swing from Todrick. Todrick is a miss. Tammin, 19, that's a hit. Okay, so D8 from Tammin. 6, 7 points. So that brings us down to 5 left on this floor. And the party are gonna run farther into the room after the orcs that are running away. Okay, so as they charge in with the 5 that are remaining, the other orcs from the 3rd floor march down. I'm gonna just break it up even Stevens and say that there were 7 and the leader, leaving 7 other ones. Oh, sorry, there will be 6 plus a leader, so that'll be 7 coming down to this first wave. And then the 8 that are still at the top. So the 8 went from the 4th floor down to the 3rd floor, and then these ones from the 2nd floor are all coming down on this turn. So now the 7 are in the basement with the original 5. They're just here on the stairs, right? Here's the shape here, and then there's that little curtain area. So the party have just chased the orcs over to here, and then these 7 with their leader just came down, they're right here. So that morale is actually gonna go up. Good thing we got them with that morale before they could get to this point, right? So let's roll initiative, see what happens. Okay, so the party lose the initiative. So So everybody had moved over to here to chase after those orcs. So these orcs are going to come running in after them. I think it's safe to say Idalar is going to try to cast Chromatic Orb on the leader, because he can probably tell because he's bigger and beefier than the other ones. And as a leader, he's going to have 8 health points. He's going to have a +1 on attack and +1 on damage rolls. Yeah, okay, cool. So in that case, the group of 7 are going to come charging in and try to rout the party as they make their way over here. So another 4 are going to attack, but this time the available orcs, actually I'm thinking about it, there's 7 of them. So they're probably going to attack the whole party. So let's start off with, I don't know, 1 on Todrick. Ooh, 5. Okay, so that's a miss. I imagine the leader's probably going to go after Todrick too, just because he's a dwarf. So let's do that other one on Todrick that's the leader. He's... Whew, a fumble, thank goodness. Alright, so that's 2 out of the 7 that have attacked. Okay, and then we have 2 attacks we'll put on Tamond. 4 and a 6, that's 2 misses. I'm going to do 2 attacks on Zion. Ooh, 15 actually feels like that might be a hit. Zion's armor class is a 6, so orcs with the 19th ACO will hit on the 13 or higher. So even though he's got a 14 on the roll, he's still hit. All right, now for damage, we got that d6. 1 point. Okay. Zion fights to see another day? I don't know. Is that the saying? I don't think that's the saying. Okay, cool. Then we have 1 more attack on Zion. Jeez. A crit. Oh boy. Alright, 2 points of damage. Zion has been kicking with us for a long time. I really would not like to see her get bested in this. That would really, really suck. Okay, she's got 3 health left. And then 1 attack on Idalar. Whew, thank God. Okay, so he can still cast. Okay. Okay, cool. So the party are able to finally take their turn now after being attacked by all those orcs. So I'm thinking that the other group of 5 are cowering behind the curtain. These new 7 ran in here. So the party are just going to start swinging on the ones that charged them. So we'll start off with the melee attacks. We're too close for ranged, so I'm thinking Zion's going to attempt to attack. But I'm thinking since there's a big chunky melee and she's a backstabby kind of character, I'm imagining she's going to move in combat to try to attack one of them with a backstab. It's going to give her a +4 on the attack roll, -1 because of her strength. A crit. 1d8 -1 times 2, 4, so that's a kill. It's not a great kill, but it's still a kill. So that brings us to 6 here in the chamber. Okay, and now we can do our spells. Oh, yeah, spells, because she moved to do that. So Idalar is going to attempt to cast his Chromatic Orb spell on the leader of the orcs, and we're going to do our save, spell save, a 12, which the orcs need for spells a 16 or higher, so he fails. All right, so because he failed on his saving throw, first he's going to take 1d4 points of damage. 3 points. Okay, so the leader has 8 total. Now he's down to 5. And he's glowing when shedding 15-foot radius of bright light, which probably ticks off all the orcs, right? They have a -1 to hit when in full daylight. So maybe not a -1 to hit, but they definitely take a penalty. They're probably freaked out by this, right? And so anybody attacking the leader gets a +2 on attacks versus him. So I'm going to go ahead and roll now for our 2 melee attacks. I'm going to have Todrick swing on the leader with a +2 on top of his already existing +3. All right, that's a cock die. 14. Ooh, 14. +5 brings us to a 19, so that's a hit. We get a d6 +3. That's a 9, so we club the leader and kill them. Nice. Okay, so the leader's dead. Brings us to 5 of them. It feels like the reason for a morale, but Tamond gets to do his attack too. A crit. Okay, this is where we're starting to take it back. 2, so +1 times 2 is 4. So we bring down this count to a 4. Okay. Oh, also, the 8 that were upstairs on the 3rd floor are now going to be on the 2nd floor. So I know we just cracked out all these ones, but they're going to have backup soon enough. So now our party are stuck between the 2 groups. We're going to have to roll for morale on this group. I'm again going to say that they take the -1 because of the other ones that are afraid and their leader getting killed. 10. Good. Okay, so those ones are going to panic and try to flee. Now, because one group is tucked in the corner, those ones are staying there and they're cowering. The other ones are going to just try to book it up the stairs. And I'm thinking that if they do book it up the stairs, they might... All right, let's roll initiative and see what happens. Okay, so the party lose initiative, the orcs go running. I'm thinking as the orcs go running past the other group of 8 that we'll probably roll to see the morale on those guys. Again, -1. Yeah, 8. Okay, so with that, the other orcs are also freaked out by this and are gonna run for it as well. So I'm thinking that those orcs are just gonna head out of here at full speed. The party are gonna chase after those ones and try to rout them, getting them to run out of the place. Excellent. Cool, okay. So, in a chase, our party run just as fast as they do. Everybody except for Zion, who's going to be able to keep chasing after them and peppering them with arrows. So I'm imagining she'll be able to pick off a few of them as she runs and chases them over the countryside. There are 17 of them left. There's 5 in the basement, which I'm imagining that Todrick will be able to club those guys and kill all of them, get rid of that group of 5. And the party will probably be able to chase the other ones, throwing javelins and shooting at them for the sake of time. I'm not going to roll that out. Maybe what we can do is we can see... This is tricky. Okay, well, the party are just going to chase after them. At least Zion and Tamond will, so we'll continue to chase after them. So we ran up into base contact on those guys again with a +2. And then the +1, so that's a fail on that. A shot. Shot's a hit, so that'll kill another one. I'll just roll that as a kill. And then we can keep rolling after them. Again, chasing after them. Tamond is able to catch up, and he's able to, well, again, I'll roll for the initiative. Oop, so the party are able to catch up with a 6 on their 5, and we're able to land a hit with both of them. We got a shot. Shot's a kill. And the swing with the blade on the wounded one that existed would be another kill. So there's 9 left. I'm thinking that just with the way that this is going, we'll probably be able to kill them. They're going to run out into daylight and get freaked out. Let's just consider this, chalk this up as a win. So the party were able to kill off all of the orcs that are inhabiting the tower. And now the party will be able to, at the very least, figure out what kind of treasure these goobers had, right? So... okay, let's roll treasure. Let's do that. I know the party were able to scour the place and look around, and I'm imagining Todrick, after bludgeoning those cowering orcs, was able to see, I don't know why I laughed about that. I didn't laugh about that, it's okay. But after he killed those orcs that were down here in the basement, he probably saw the little doorway that leads further down. And I'm imagining at this point, that probably piques his interest. I'm imagining too, he sees that the treasure was kept up in the highest point where the leader was, and we can go ahead and roll for their treasure type. So, treasure for the orcs. Let's see, I have my treasure table right here where we have our percentages. There's a 10% chance for our copper pieces. So if we get 10, or we'll do double zeros. If we get double zeros, nothing. We have 15% chance of silver pieces. So let's see, 15 and under, 38, so nope. We have a chance for gold, 60% chance, so 60 and under. Nice, we got gold. Gold, we have 1d6 times 1,000 gold pieces. Ooh, okay, come on, don't let us down. XP. Ugh, nice. Oh, good. Whew. Got a little lightheaded there. Too much XP. All that XP went straight to my head. Okay. Very well. All right, this is how much treasure at least we know is here, right? All right, now we have a 30% chance of gems, so 30 and under. A 1. We got gems too? Oh my gosh. All right, 1d8 gems. 6 gems. Okay, and now we have 30% chance for jewelry. This is really where it's gonna count. 90, we got jewelry too? Oh my goodness, guys, this is incredible. The party are finally getting like the money we have been fighting for all this time. All these sessions. 1d8, 6 pieces of jewelry. Oh my gosh. Dude, we're gonna level up. No question. All right. And then 50% chance of magic items plus a potion. Okay, 99. Our luck had to run out somewhere. I can live with this. This is great. Now here's my question. Will this treasure be protected? I'm imagining the leader, being the leader, probably kept all of his treasure to himself in his chamber and likely never let anybody else touch it. So I'm guessing the treasure is all in one place. Now, because it's all in one place, it's probably locked in a chest. Now, the question is if it's trapped or not. I'm gonna give it, I don't know, a 2 in 6 chance that the chest is trapped. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, this is gonna get tricky quick. All right, so let's see, treasure trap. We'll say that it's probably a simple treasure trap. It's probably gonna be darts. And the darts, 1d6 spring-loaded darts fire at the character doing a d4 of damage each. Okay, so I'm gonna roll now. Because of her skill, she has a 10% chance, but because these are smelly orcs, I'm guessing that the trap would probably be a little bit more visible than that. So we're gonna roll just to see. It's probably got a padlock on the front, so we'll know that it's locked at the very least, but we won't know that it's trapped. So we're gonna roll to see if we can pop the lock. I'll give it a 30% chance of success. Oop. So 30 and under, double zeros. Okay, so we're able to pop the lock. And now the question is, do we see a trap? Now we will only know on a 1 or a 2. Or a 0 and a 1, rather. Oh, God. So we don't know that it's trapped. Well, here's the thing. We popped the thing open. Now, here's the question. Would we be stupid to open this thing like this? I mean, we see that it's locked. We see that it's a big reinforced chest. Now, my question is, would the party just consider just popping it open like that? Because I feel like she didn't see a trap, so she's going to be confident that there's nothing wrong with it. So she might be the one to open it. But that feels very dangerous. Okay. I don't know, because there's a part of me that thinks Todrick would be, you know, avaricious as he is. He might want to try to get into it. But then again, both of them are wounded, and Tamond is not wounded. So he might feel like it's kind of his duty to open it up and see what's inside, just so that, I don't know. I'm almost willing to say it would be Todrick because he's greedy, but I feel like Zion because she's the thief. So let's, all right, we'll have Zion do it, okay? Let's hope for the best. All right, I've been racking my mind over this for a bit, and I think the most reasonable thing to do is I'll roll versus Zion's intelligence. If I get below her intelligence of a 7, she will know to open it in a more clever way. I got a 4, so she's gonna have a glimmer in her stupid little head of trying to open this in a safer way, right? So she is going to probably use the 10-foot pole, I'd imagine, right? Or maybe she'll stand behind it. Maybe her and Todrick will grab it on opposite sides and try to open it up and tell everybody else to clear out, just in case there's like poison or something. All right, I'll tell you what, on odds, we'll use a rope or a 10-foot pole or something to, yeah, a 10-foot pole to try to pop it open. Odds, 10-foot pole, evens, they'll grab it from behind. Okay, so Todrick and Zion will grab it from the sides and behind and try to lift it up this way. They'll tell everybody else to leave the area, or at least the mouth of the treasure chest, and stand back. They open it up and it starts immediately pew, 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 firing off darts into the room, and that itself is enough to scare them. But once the mechanism's all done, the party are able to grab their treasure and pack it up into their bags. 6,000 gold divided amongst all of them and brought to their mounts. I imagine they'll be fine to carry this home. It's going to be heavy, but since they're just heading right back to the village, I don't think we're going to run into any troubles there. So why don't you come meet me back at the camera? Okay, so that was intense. I'm still a little bit shocked that we were able to pull that off. I'm gonna pull this back. But we did. We killed them, and there was a lot of them. There was a lot of lucky rolls, but I really think morale is what won the day, right? Yeah, wow. And then with the trap on the treasure chest, I know some people might call me out on that and think that I cheated it or something, but my chances of success on that intelligence check were pretty low. So I don't feel terrible thinking that she would rethink how she was opening it. And I think now, moving forward, they would probably be clever about how they're trying to open these chests. But as far as I can tell, when we get back to town, we have a lot of jewelry and gems to look over, and jewelry alone is worth so much that the party are probably going to level up. And my goodness, have we waited a long time for that, you know? So, again, just trying to make this one brief. We have a dungeon ahead of us. We're going to be level 2s. We're going to have some new powers, some more health, and a bit of a plot here. What is this? Where did this come from, right? So, again, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This one was tough. This was an interesting one. A little different than the usual games that we run, but like, we got treasure. I'm staring at the numbers as if they mean anything to me right now, but wow. Okay. Wow. Again, thanks for watching, everybody. Please come back next time and come check out what's going to happen. We have a lot of jewelry to appraise, and we got a lot of leveling up to do, and a dungeon to delve into. So, yeah. Until next time, goodbye.